Hey there YouTube, this is SJM4306 back with another review video. Sorry if I sound very nasally, I'm still working through a sinus infection. But anyway, we have another suck of the salve, so to speak, from EKSA, which is a channel favorite. I use their headphones. Like, they sent me a number of headphones. I have one sitting at my desk at work that I use for my web meetings. I have a pair here, actually next to my bed, that I use just for like listening to music, podcasts, like YouTube videos, that kind of stuff. And then I always have one of their wireless earbuds. They sent me like a gaming pair of earbuds in my backpack that I just have just for pretty much any in between, like, you know, if I'm in a car or whatever traveling, I'll listen with those. Anyway, this model is sort of, I guess you would consider it sort of their mid-range model. From what I remember, I think this was priced around 50 bucks, so not as cheap as their low-end ranges, which I think go down to like about 30 bucks, and then their high-end models go up to near about 100 bucks. So this is actually right there in between. And this is actually pretty interesting because it's 2.4 gigahertz wireless. So their only other wireless like sort of gaming communication full-size headset that I have, I believe it's also the E1000. It has the same model number or something like that, but this is the WT. And I guess this is their newer model, and this has 2.4 gigahertz, and it has a little dongle that it includes so that you can use it with your computer, or also there's an auxiliary input. So they list PS4, 5, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, because anything with a headphone jack honestly will work. And I'll definitely be testing this using like the wireless dongle for web meetings and stuff, but also just with my Android tablet, because I watch like a lot of YouTube videos and whatnot. And so definitely having the auxiliary input, I think, was a good decision. You can see here it has their kind of purple and black aesthetic, which is really nice. And yeah, you can see here exactly what it comes with, but we're just going to pop this open and see in a second anyway. Yeah, RGB, the whole shebang. Does like a noise canceling on the microphone, so you get a little bit clearer sound quality on whoever you're talking to's end. These don't have active noise canceling; they have passive, just by merit of, you know, the fact that they're over the ear and they seal against your ear, etc., etc. The diaphragm on the speaker, the diameter is 50 millimeters, 32 ohms, 20 to 20 kilohertz, etc., etc. Sensitivity is 105. It does have a built-in battery for the whole wireless thing, as well as the RGB lights. So you can see here it has a lithium battery, and it says with the lights off, it'll run 36 hours. So that's actually not bad. With the lights on, I'm just going to take a wild stab. It's probably going to get like half the battery life, something like that. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe like down to like 20 hours or something. But yeah, 5 volts, 1 amp, 2.5 hours charging time, has a condenser mic on board. And I did note in a past review that their microphone, at least on a few of their past models, were actually really good. So I'm excited to see how it works out in this model. Anyway, let's just pop this open. All their products actually come with like really nice, useful, thoughtful, well thought out accessories. So this is no exception. Comes with one of these really nice Velveteen pouches, and this is actually really good for just throwing in a backpack so the headphones themselves don't get all scratched up. It's actually really nice. It has a pretty thick and beefy manual here, and let's see. Yeah. So the English is only 9 pages, and the rest is like every other language in the world. But like actually pretty decent diagrams, like no, as far as I can see, like no major like translation flubs. You do have some buttons on board. They explain what they do, how to toggle different features, etc., etc. They do have virtual surround sound, interestingly enough, built into the headphones themselves. But I believe that they do have a PC software that you can manually tune it, and you can get extended like audio frequency adjustment sort of thingy going on if you wanted to use this with a PC. So yeah, that's about it for that. We have a support warranty card thingy, And if your headset has no sound, they go through whether Windows or Mac, how to actually have your computer use the dongle to output sound. The dongle is basically going to act like a sound card, like a USB sound card and transmitter. And that's about it. And I know I've complained in the past about some of their other wireless headphone that I have. I think it was the E1000. I love that pair to death, but there's no Bluetooth built in, and I complained about it. I can kind of get where they're coming from. Bluetooth does have significant like compression artifacting and latency, and these are definitely marketed as a gaming pair of headphones. So that's literally the last thing you'd want. Any kind of latency or like compression artifacts on the audio sound quality. So I can understand going with RF means that you don't have the Bluetooth stack overhead. So you generally just get better sound quality, and there's not really as much latency. So yeah, that's their rationale for that. They have their logo on the front here, which is quite nice. It's purple, and yeah, and even the drawstring little thingies are purple too. That's really nice. We have the headphones here, and I'm gonna have to put this down to actually rip open this plastic. So give me 1 sec. And so here we go, like massive plush ear pads. I don't see a way of easily removing these. Nope, wow, I'm actually wrong. These actually do clip off. Yes, this is what I've been saying for like years and years. Please make... I have to check their website now. If they have these replacement pads available, then this is fantastic. These come off easily enough, and it looks like they just stretch over. So you can actually probably easily just buy just this foam thing and stretch it over if they sell them, or if you can find one in the right size. But yes, that's fantastic, because that's the first thing that goes on these kind of over-ear headphones is the ear pads, and then the next thing is the headband. Now, the headband doesn't look like you can really replace, but once this deteriorates, it's not as bad. I can live with that, but the actual part that touches my ears, once it gets all gross and sweaty and whatnot and like starts breaking down, that's a big no-no. So the fact that they just have this that you could pull it off, that is fantastic. So yeah, here you could see the actual speaker is decently large. The rest of it's just sort of the pegs that this squeezes into. And this is really easy to install too, so fantastic. Finally, a company that listens to my criticism. Because on the past models I reviewed, I wasn't able to actually pry that off. So that's definitely a really good step in the right direction, in my opinion. Here you have the left and the right on the inside of the ear pad, so you know which way it goes around, meaning that your microphone will always be on your left-hand side. I guess nothing stops you from just rotating this, except for the fact that the mic would be in the back of your head. Never mind. Anyway, the aesthetic, they're pretty chunky boys. They've got their logo sort of on the front here, and it is plastic. The body, at least the headband, and then the outside of the speaker. There is, this is not metal, this is also spray painted plastic, with a cutout for their logo for the light to shine through, and also there's some opaque, sort of slightly opaque surround that glows as well. The mic swings out. It has a pretty wide range of adjustment. I mean, the whole thing is sort of this flex arm thing. It's not super tiny on the end there, but it does swing out like pretty decently out of the way, so it's not horribly like in your face the whole time. I like the designs that have the removable mic, because I don't necessarily always want the mic even attached, but this is at least non-intrusive enough that I could just swing it out of the way, and it's not that bad having it permanently attached. Now let's see the adjustment mechanism, if I can do this one-handed. Good. Okay, so one thing they got right, metal. None of this plastic hinge crap. So that will give it a much, much better chance of surviving opening and closing and having this shoved in a bag repeatedly over other designs. Now we do have the little, looks like those like little guide rail things in the plastic there, but that's not where the clicky bit goes, because there's like detents when you push it in that actually clicks. Must be like inside the rail here somewhere. Now, one thing that I do spot, actually some screws there, but one thing that I do spot that is a little bit worrying is there's no adjustment on the ear cups themselves, either this way or this way. So either in the X or Y rotation. So, I mean, the band will bend, but usually this means that we'll have to test this out to actually know. But if the ear cup doesn't have any compliance in any direction, usually that means it'll tend to clamp your head, depending on if your head size is big or small. But generally, with this design, I've seen in other headphones, usually near my jawline is where these will line up, and it will put pressure on my jaw, so it gets uncomfortable after like half an hour of use. But I can't say anything for sure without actually wearing these for at least an hour. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these to work and use these as my everyday headphone for at least a week, and then get back to you on how I feel about it. But in the meantime, yeah, you can see the momentary buttons here, and there's a physical analog volume wheel, which I like. We'll just turn this on. Just hold this for 3 seconds. There we go. It just says power on. There's a USB-C, thank God, port to charge it. And the RGB effect is it color changing or no? It looks like it's just static. It has red, green, blue. It just sort of transitions around, but it doesn't move. It's not like animated. At least, yeah, definitely. It's not like not moving around like it's a NeoPixel or anything like that, like the WS2812 LEDs. But I mean, it looks nice enough, and it definitely makes their icon stand out on the side. So yeah, that's a nice touch. I don't think I would necessarily use that. I'd prefer longer battery life over flashy RGB. But yeah, let me take this to work. I'll give you my findings on sound quality, comfort, etc., etc. And then we'll come back on whether this is actually worth the around $50 asking price. A quick addendum, I almost forgot. The USB cord is about a foot long, so not super short, but not super long either. So, but at least they give you one. The dongle looks nice enough. Plastic feels maybe a little bit cheap. You know, there's some molding, things there, but I mean, it's a USB dongle. You plug this in the back of your computer and you kind of forget about it. So yeah, there's that. And the auxiliary cord, if you wanted to use this with like anything, this is like 6 feet long. So it's decently long, and this is that really nice silicone rubber and like nice beefy tip with gold plating. So they put like a decent amount of cost into this cord. Which is, I'm happy about that. And happily enough, it has the 4 rings, so that means it does carry the mic data through, so you could use this with your phone, if your phone still has a headphone jack, that is. But yeah, you could use this for making calls and talking to people in web meetings if your tablet and or phone still has, a headphone jack. So that's great. Fantastic. Okay, so I actually took this to work. I used it for a little over a week. And you might notice here I brought in this other pair of different model headphones that they have. These in particular are if my camera would stop trying to fall over every 2 seconds, these are the E900 Pros. And I have another pair that is very similar design, but is wireless. This one's a wired version. So it's kind of inevitable that I'm doing this comparison between the two of these. Because I think I like these headphones, but there are some key things that I think need to be improved with the design. So let's start with kind of the elephant in the room, comfort. So these have no articulation, like at all. I mean, well, okay, to be fair, you can move up and down each of the earpieces, but they do not swivel. They don't go left and right. The only thing that wiggles is the band, basically. So when you put these on your head, kind of like I thought, they pinch your, wherever these land on your face, which for me is like my jaw area. After about half an hour, they pinch my jaw, and it just gets more and more uncomfortable, and I kind of have to take them off and like massage my jaw because it just sort of feels sore generally. So that aspect of these, I just wish they were more comfortable. The E900 design, of these ear cups, even though they don't really swivel too much side to side, there is a little bit of rocking action due to the joint here. So they do swivel a little bit, but they have a lot of articulation up and down. You can see here there's a hinge. And these are super comfortable. I can wear these for like a couple hours at a time, and they only get slightly mildly uncomfortable, but that's more due to like the humidity, because these seal against your ears. They trap like moisture. So that's the only discomfort that I get with these. In terms of like the actual force that they put on my head, I have no problems with those. I could probably wear these continuously if they could just air out a little more. These are just I wanted to like these. I wanted to like these a lot more. They're okay for short bursts. Sound quality is pretty good. I had no issues with that. Unfortunately, I can't really show you sound quality over YouTube video, but yeah, they have decent amount of bass. It's not like too over the top, not super accentuated, but like a fun amount of like punchy bass. It helps sometimes with like phone calls. It's not like all mids and highs. In that case, you get a little bit of bass as well, if you're using these for like teleconferencing. But yeah, just like playing games, watching YouTube videos, yeah, they sounded fantastic to me. And that was most of the time. Honestly, I use them with the wired connection. I did try out the wireless dongle, and I didn't notice any latency. Sound quality might have been maybe a little worse than having a physical wired connection. I still believe that if given the choice, go for the wired connection, because you get the highest bandwidth, like absolutely no latency, because it's physically wired. So if you can, go for the wired. If not, the wireless definitely wasn't like a major downgrade. It was pretty convenient to just be able to plug this little dongle in, and I had no issues like pairing or anything like this. Just instantly saw the headphones and connected. And yeah, that just worked fantastic. They do have an app for like if you want to mess around with sound adjustment profiles and like surround sound and all that kind of stuff. Um, Honestly, I'm not too crazy about that kind of stuff. In terms of the noise canceling, not for the headphones themselves, but for the microphone, it worked fine. I mean, I was in meetings with these for like probably like 10-15 hours, not straight, of course, but and no one complained about like being unable to hear me. No one asked me to say something again. So seems like it was fine then. I really like the volume control on board. That's a fantastic idea, like having the physical wheel, not just digital buttons, so you can adjust this exactly to the perfect level. That's really cool. The lights are sort of a gimmick. Yeah, I mean, you can see they don't color shift or anything. They're just static. They look nice enough, but I'd rather get better battery life. So just turning off the lights works for me better. Yeah, I kind of wish. I mean, they do have this boon so that you can like swivel the microphone out of the way so it's not in your face. But I really like the approach that the E900 took, where it's just totally removable. Let's see, it's actually on this side. There's actually a removable piece, so if you want to just take these out and use these to listen to music and you have no intention of talking to anyone through them, you just remove the mic and it's just totally out of the way then. Uh, this is at least better than having a fixed mic that's always in this position. But I kind of would have liked to see just a removable mic. That's just the most convenient for me. Okay, so I am wearing the headset right now, and hopefully I'm not yelling, because it does sort of have a way of making the noise kind of not feed back into your skull the normal way it does when you speak. But anyway, I'm trying to speak at a normal sort of volume level. I'm recording into WAV at 44.1 kilohertz. Don't know the bit rate exactly. I actually had a little bit of trouble, so I usually use my Sony, pretty schmick high-end, what model number is this? ICD UX 570. It's a voice recorder that records like really good quality audio. I can't find where my splitter adapter is, so I couldn't actually get the mic to work with that. It was like super low volume. But I have this plugged into my tablet, which is ironically enough the last device that I own that still has a headphone jack. All my phones and other smart devices do not have a headphone jack, so that kind of makes it really difficult to record audio, using a wired aux-in cable like I'm doing right now. But anyway, yeah, looks like I've been talking for about a minute, so this should have given you a pretty good idea of what the audio quality is. The cords always EKSA sends like, I don't know who they get to make the cords for them, but they're fantastic. Like they're like really high quality rubber, gold plated, like decent length. They actually like put a lot of effort into it. It looks like. So definitely really happy. There's even like they even went through the trouble of like making custom molding designs to like make it easier to insert and unplug. So yeah, that's really good. Um, so yeah, overall, I think if I'm being honest, I think these both of these headphones are around the same price point. I think this was like about 40 or $50, I want to say. Uh, and so, if I have to be honest, for me personally, I would go for the E900 Pros. Or if you want the wireless version, I forget, it was like E900W or something. Those are even better than the Pros. Uh, and those were a little bit more honestly than these. I think they were like closer to like the $70 or $80 range. But if you really want like kind of the best that EKSA has to offer, I would go with the wireless E900 series sort of thing. The E900 design, I think, is just a better design in my opinion than this pair. But I mean, this isn't a horrible pair of headphones either. It's just I think the biggest letdown for me was comfort or well, lack thereof. I would have liked to see some more articulation. If they could redesign these, just adding like hinges to these, I think then these would be like, definitely significantly better, in my opinion. That would make, like, I really want to just recommend these for all the other features and like the sound quality is great, but it's just the comfort. It always comes down to, and that's the thing with headphones is it doesn't to me it doesn't matter how good they sound or like how useful they are. If they're not comfortable, then I just don't want to wear them for long periods of time. So yeah, EKSA, if you're listening, please just maybe redesign this with a little more articulation on the ear pads so that they can fit just better on my head. And who knows, maybe I'm the only one, maybe I have a big head, I don't know, maybe I have a tiny head and these just don't quite fit properly on me. But it's just, yeah, I cannot wear these for more than like about half an hour at once, without having to like take them off for a couple seconds and just sort of massage my around my ear area because it just kind of makes it a little sore if I'm being honest. Oh yeah, before I forget, one important thing to note. So, like any of their advanced features like the RGB lights or like the 7.1 surround sound sort of thing, that only works with the wireless receiver. So if I turn this on, so you can see it's on. As soon as I plug in this external jack, it shuts off. And that's by design. So you don't get any of those like advanced features if you are listening through the aux in. So yeah, that's sort of a bit disappointing. But yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.